Okay, so welcome to Empowered Elites Team Call for June 13th. I'm just gonna kind of chit chat with you guys for a few minutes before we actually kind of dig into actually doing some work on this call. I feel like it's been a while since we've had consistent power hours, but I think moving forward after Summit, it would be a really amazing thing to do to kind of block out some different hours that people are working, especially with your success pods, to get together on calls for working. Because I don't know about you guys, but I think accountability is always super helpful for everyone. At least that's what y'all tell me. And I think that it can be as well. So moving forward, that's something we can kind of bring to the plate to discuss again. But I also just had some things that have been on my heart that I have been kind of reflecting on and just really wanted to kind of share with you guys. And if you didn't see my hot mess live video on the team page today, I went in there and I cried. So I'm not really going to go over those things, but I do have some things that I wanted to say. So I have spoken to some of you kind of personally, and some of you have kind of shared that you've been in like funky places in your business, or you haven't been as consistent as you want to be, or you're kind of struggling with motivation or doing basics or different things. And that is totally normal, and we're human and we have ebbs and flows and we go through certain phases. And I think that it's really kind of important to dig in when we get in those places and have self-reflection and self-honesty and just kind of learn from those phases where things feel a bit slower for you. Because I know, at least for me personally, the last 6 months or so have been a time period of a lot of personal growth and a lot of kind of making peace with certain things, and just also kind of realigning myself for where I want to be moving forward and where I'd like to see this team go moving forward. So the first thing that I wanted to kind of share that I think might be super helpful for you, as it has been for me, and it's something that my success partner, Taryn, actually shared with me, is that when you get in one of those funky spaces, or just, for the hell of it, because I think it's important to really stay connected to that, is doing an exercise of sitting down, just, with a blank notebook, and making a list of the ways that this journey, that this lifestyle, that this team, and this business have influenced and impacted your life. Because I think it's really important to kind of function in our lives and in our businesses from this like heart-centered space of gratitude for what is and what this has given us, and the gift we have to give with this. Because I feel like sometimes, and I'd love if anybody wants to unmute themselves and share at any point on this, by the way, but I think that everyone can kind of agree that sometimes you get in a funky space, or a space where you're beating yourself up because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing or what you wish you were doing, but you're kind of like, I'm stuck here and I don't know what the hell to do to get myself out of it. Or you're looking around at whatever or you're looking around at what everybody else is doing around you and thinking like, why is this working for them, but it's not working for me? And like beating yourself up about why you're feeling stuck, or why you're not seeing growth happen, or not really sure what you should be doing differently. And I just, again, really want to stress that it's normal and it is human to get in places where you feel like you're stuck, or where you feel like you're kind of stagnant, or you feel a little bit uninspired or unmotivated. That is just part of being human and is part of the journey of personal growth. I think that it's kind of naive to expect that we're always on this huge upscale of growth and high motivation and high energy. And that is ideal. And I think with a lot of work that's obviously like a fantastic place to stay in. But we also are human and we go through funk sometimes. And sometimes it's circumstances that are out of our control. Sometimes life situations happen that kind of shake you, or take your blinders off, when you're in one of those phases. And sometimes you just kind of get lost, because that's just the nature of being human and on a journey, right? Can everybody kind of agree with that sentiment? So instead of just kind of ignoring the fact that this happens, because I feel like one thing that I don't do a great job of is really sharing the struggles that I've gone through in my business, or how hard it's been when I've had certain failures or missed certain goals or get in weird spaces, because I always am really aware that my energy affects our team and affects my coaches. And I just really always try to come to the plate with good things to share. But I think that I do a disservice when I don't share those spaces that I go through as well, because I think everything is a learning opportunity. And I think everything truthfully shared can be really powerful, so that if you ever find yourself in a place like that, you know that it happens and that you don't have to continue to stay there, but you can learn from it while you're there, if that makes sense. So, getting back to kind of functioning in your business from a heart-centered space, I personally think that this is one of the biggest reasons that having a morning routine is so important. When you study people that are very highly successful, they have morning routines. They have strategic things in place that keep them functioning at that kind of high level space. And just, going to Tony Robbins and hearing all the things he shared about just gratitude and living in a beautiful state of mind and all of those kinds of things really gut checked me of are we intentionally choosing to the best of our ability, while giving ourselves grace to be human, to put ourselves in these best kind of states of mind for what we really want to do with our own journeys and just with our growth of our business and what we're bringing to the table, that we're offering, when we're trying to help people, right? So, kind of having a morning routine and getting connected to whatever your, hey, Kelly, hope everything's okay over there. But having some kind of a routine, because I can say personally for me, some of the things that are so helpful, which like have totally gone out the window since summer break started, but having a really solid morning routine, like having that commitment to your own journey, like meditating or being connected to a spiritual path and whatever that means for you, finding ways to really fill yourself up. Because I think that when we're not really intentional about that, it's when we find ourselves in places where we feel burnt out and don't have a lot of ourselves to give, right? So I think that that's so important to remember, that you have to put your oxygen mask on first. And I can say that why I'm telling you this is partly because in the past month, a lot of you know that I've gone through a lot of really like not fun health things. And there was a good 2-week period where I was pretty much unable to get out of bed, like straight up fatigued, dizzy, exhausted, just totally unable to function like I typically do on a day-to-day basis. And it was really humbling to me to remember just how much being well affects every single aspect of our lives. And of course, that was something totally out of my control, but it just really reminded me that we can't take it for granted when we are able and we are capable of helping ourselves and taking care of ourselves, whether that is your physical well-being or your mental well-being, or just, your ability to stay motivated and moving forward, right? So that was the first thing that I kind of wanted to bring to the plate for you guys to think about. The next thing is, going to ask you to kind of evaluate where your mindset is with your business, because I feel like sometimes, whether it be me in my own business or with coaches that I have been mentoring, there is this like drastic shift of whether you're kind of in a state of gratitude and feeling like this business is a blessing, or the flip side of it being that you start to feel like this business is a burden and it's really hard and it feels monotonous and you are struggling to show up and do the basic things and you don't feel super excited about it, right? I think that everybody can probably relate to that as well. I'm going to go ahead and make a guess. But really kind of evaluating where your mindset is at right now with the business, because I feel like to really show up and pour into your business and just into the people that you're speaking to and the groups that we're running, and showing up and pouring into this team and adding value, because you all know that this is your team page to share whatever the hell it is you want to share to and add value in, is that we have to really ask ourselves, how are we looking at this business, right? Because I can say when you start to hit failures or miss goals, or you have life stuff happen where you kind of feel frazzled and things are out of control, right? It's easy to start feeling like you will back burner this because it's stressful. And sometimes it's easier to kind of put things off to the side or ignore them rather than like fight your way through it to figure it out, right? So just really getting connected with remembering what a blessing this business is, and what a gift it is. And that if you are feeling that struggle or that stress, that it's kind of time to step back, and get to reconnected with your purpose as to why you are a coach in the first place. Because it's really easy to get sucked into the whole thing of looking at the shiny things and the ranks and the trips and the income that people are making and the things that people are able to buy when they're successful in this business, and kind of get sucked into that. I don't even know what the word to use for that is, but remembering that the heart of what we do and why we do it is to serve other people, right? And having that mindset, instead of being what can I get and what can I achieve and what ranks can I have and what accolades and all of this kind of stuff, versus how can I show up and serve? How can I give? What can I pour into people? Because there are so many people out there that need what we do, whether it is the fitness, the nutrition, for their health, for their finances, for their business, for the friendships, for the support, for the community, for the personal growth aspect of it all. Like, this is everything someone needs to drastically improve their lives in a pretty little box that we get to put a bow on and say, here you go, I'm going to help you through this process. And we can't forget how important our job is, what we do as coaches. So with that said, I just wanted to say that Whitney said this on her call the other night, and I just loved it so much, because I think it really reminds you to keep your blinders on your journey and not be looking around so much at what everybody else is doing. To give your 100%, whatever that means for you, wherever you are at, give your 100%. Now, if that means you're all in, balls to the wall, give it your 100% when you show up for it. If that means you're just part-time, give that your 100%. If you know that you have some tough life stuff going on right now and you kind of need to pump the brakes a little bit, show up and give the 100% that you can from that space. And maybe it's not what you would want to do or what you typically do, but you're still showing up and giving the best that you have in that space and time, right? Because I can say that to keep your momentum going in this business, it is important that you are consistent and showing up in some way, shape, or form, so that you never hit a place where you feel like you're starting all over again. And it reminds me of the kind of escalator mindset that Patrick Reelman talks a lot about, of how, you're basically, when you're building a business and you're on a journey, that you're like on an escalator that is, going down, but you're climbing up, right? And you're learning and you're growing and you're making moves and you're hitting goals, and then you're having a failure and you're going down a little bit, but we're always in this motion of trying to get up that escalator. But when you stop, that's going to keep moving and kind of bringing you back down, right? And that's what you don't want to do, because then when that happens, the doubt creeps in, and the fears creep in again, and I'm a failure starts coming in, and it's like you can snowball so easily if you're not keeping in some forward moving momentum, even if that means just focusing on your journey and staying connected for a time being until you get through whatever it is you're getting through and figure out whatever the hell it is you need to figure out, right? And I say this because I love this team and I want everyone to be happy with moving forward. And I really just, I think it's really humbled me, the fact that I've been struggling the past few months with a lot of fears creeping back in and negative self-talk coming back up for me again, just in light of what's happened in the past year. That I reached out to my success partner, Taryn. I said to her, it's crazy. Like, you think for at some point in time that you'll grow enough that you totally outgrow all of those things, right? And that, like, you'll never feel them anymore and that they'll never creep up for you. And that's just not the reality with the growth process, is that it's forever ongoing and you never know what's going to happen next, and you never know, what obstacles are going to get thrown your way, and you have to keep growing through things and learning through things. And I can say personally that some of my biggest failures in hindsight were my best lessons, all along the way of this journey, from back when I was a brand new coach and I missed New Leadership Conference that first year, and it lit a fire under my ass to never miss getting to an event again, up until the end of last year, where we literally accrued way more than enough points that we needed to be an elite team, but we fell short rank wise. And it was like so hard for me to wrap my head around, that our team had worked our asses off for an entire year and we didn't get to celebrate an achievement like that again. And it's hard when things like that happen. But guys, like, in hindsight, you can take ownership of the ways that you could have done things differently, or that you could have worked differently or shown up differently, or you can make peace with the fact that you gave it all you got and you did all you could. And sometimes things just don't pan out the way you expected to, but that doesn't mean that you don't keep going, right? Or that you give up, or that one stumble along the way has to define you for the rest of your journey. And that was why I shared that thing in the team page the other day of, your successes and your failures do not define you. You get to define you. Because I feel like for a little while I was allowing that failure to define me. And nobody knew that except some of you that were really close to me. But I was really struggling, saying, I screwed up. I failed. I failed as a leader of this team. Like, I failed one of the biggest goals that I've ever set for this team. And I failed at my leadership, and I failed the girls who had big goals and whatever. And, you can have one belief that pops up for you, and if you allow it to, it'll make you spiral, right? And it's important to kind of catch yourself in those spaces and bring truth to the scenario of, why did this happen? It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. And what am I going to learn from this? And how am I going to use this to get wiser moving forward? Right. So, like I said, this has been a period of a lot of growth for me, that I'm very grateful for, all of the ebbs and flows that have happened, because it's brought me to this space where I feel very grounded and very focused and very aligned moving forward. And I'm just so excited to really move forward with this team, with those of you that are ready to give your 100%. So the next thing that I wanted to kind of mention, is motivation. Is, where is your motivation coming from? And I say this because everybody's motivation, everybody's driving force, and everybody's why is extremely different, right? Everybody does this business for different reasons. They're very personal to people. They're very emotional a lot of the times. Sometimes they are desperation driven. Sometimes they are inspiration driven. Sometimes it's just because you kind of want to see what you're capable of, right? And you know that you have this beautiful vehicle of Beachbody in your life to take and use to serve other people, and in turn change your own life, right? But motivation is really what drives you internally, right? So a lot of times, if you're struggling with the basics, or you're missing goals every month, or you're struggling to think, like, why do I get so close to diamond and then I never get there, or why have I fallen back, whatever it is, there is a motivational driver inside every single one of you, and it's important to stay connected to what that is. And in my opinion, very important to acknowledge that that is going to change as you change. It's It's going to change as your life changes. It's going to change as the scenarios around you change. It's going to change as your team changes. And I know for me, some of you that are close to me know this, but when my custody battle ended, guys, that was my biggest driving force. That was like the one thing that I could go to in my mind, that no matter what the hell was going on or how late it was or how tired I was, that I could remind myself of that moment that was coming and I could show up and rally for it, right? And when that was gone, it was like I kept searching for, where is my motivation coming from now? Like, aside from showing up for this team and pouring into other people, like, where is my personal internal motivational drive coming from? And that was a really big shift for me to go through, to kind of recreate a vision, like recreate a why. Because that was a big part of it for me for a long time. So obviously, that's not going to be the same for you, but I just really want to also bring it to the table and bring it to the plate that your motivation and what drives you internally is going to change as you change and changes your life changes. And it's important to really be aware, to stay connected to that, right? Because our internal drive and our emotional whys are what drive us doing the work. And if you don't have something clear driving the work that you do, beyond just wanting to be healthy and help people, it's harder sometimes to pull yourself out of those funky spaces, is it not? Yes. Am I losing anybody? Are you like, okay, we're done, Dana? So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because that's been something I've been working on, is really consciously choose to find that internal driver for you. And maybe it'll take you sitting down and journaling. Maybe it will take you kind of dreaming big for your life and just sitting down and thinking about what you want your life to look like a year from now, 2 years from now, the influence you want to make, the team you want to build, the impact you want to have on your family. Without allowing all those fears and those doubts and the, oh my God, look how far I have to go, to creep in, because that is often what keeps us from dreaming bigger and setting bigger goals. And also, with that said, that setting goals is always scary. Setting bigger goals beyond what you have already done is always scary. It is always uncomfortable. It is always going to push you from where you're at right now. It's always going to require you to grow. I think I was also naive in some sense to think that would get easier. And it is when you're in that high momentum space, but when you're kind of navigating, feeling through things, it can kind of be scary to think, oh my God, I need to do shit different. I need to take bigger action. I need to develop new skills. I need to be innovative. I need to adapt to the way social media is changing. I need to, shift the way that things are going, because they're not going as I planned, whatever it is. But that's why I keep saying it's so important to be kind of reflective and aware, so that you can keep going the direction you want to keep going in an aligned way, right? I mentioned learning from failure and letting it go. Owning what is your responsibility. And I kind of already touched on this, but I think, again, it's important that it can be easy when we're in these weird spaces to point fingers and place blame and not forgive ourselves or be angry about the way certain things didn't happen for you or whatever. And nothing good comes from those spaces, right? When we take ownership, we stand in our personal power and our ability to move ourselves forward. And I'm just going to bring this up again, but if you guys have not read this book, I read this at the beginning of this year, and I have been pulling it out for the past few weeks, and just kind of going through different things that I had highlighted, because I think that it's one of those books that you can go to when you need a kick in the ass and you need some motivation. That's fantastic to go through. And I just wanted to shared it in the team page, but like the quote that is my jam right now is, you don't have to feel like today is your day. You just have to act like it is. And I think that's something that we can remind ourselves every single freaking day, no matter how we feel. Doesn't matter if you feel like it's your day, you just have to act like it's your day. And this specific chapter talks about you change your life by doing, not by thinking about doing, right? Doing gets you doing what you need to do, of course, but it is ironically the quickest way to change your thoughts. And when your reality is one of acting on things that are in your best interest, your thoughts will shift to match that. Are you going to think about yourself and what you lack, or are you going to deal with the actions presenting themselves right there in that moment of time? While thoughts can become your reality, it is only through your actions that your thoughts become your actual life. And until then, they are only thoughts. So truly, it's just really nailing in that the actions are what are defining us, right? And it says the next time you're feeling or experiencing any sort of negative or diminishing thought that disempowers you, move on immediately. Act independently of this thought. More specifically, act in a way that's in your best interest rather than a way that is dominated by how you automatically think and feel. And it brings up one of the quotes that I love so much. It says, inaction breeds fear and doubt. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. I just think everybody should print those things and hang them on their wall because they're really powerful reminders, right? And the last thing, I don't even know if we're going to have time for too much power houring, but the last thing that I really kind of wanted to share about is another thing that I have been doing, and is reflect on a point in time in your business when you were like on an all-time high. And I know that when I say that, you can probably all think exactly back to that time where like you were crushing it on your journey. You just felt like you were doing amazing in your business. You felt excited. You felt inspired. You felt purpose-filled. You were pumped to talk to everybody every day. You were pumped to share on social media, right? Can everybody think of a time they felt like that? I hope so. Otherwise, we have some work to do. And I want you to ask yourself, what were you doing at that space and time that made you feel that way? Because I feel like a lot of times we are, with a little analyzation, we are often just so solution oriented, right? That we can think about what our routine looked like, what we were committed to, the actions that we were taking, the thoughts that we were having, the way that we were feeling, that really puts you in that space. And it can be used as a tool for you to kind of realign with that moving forward. And of course, in a different way, because it's the now, not the then. But acknowledging what it was for you that was kind of your secret sauce that gave you that high motivation in your business and just in everything that you were doing. Yes, Katie. Yup. Katie said 21-day fix, lying on the ground until midnight, telling everyone about my results. Yep. So when I did that reflection, I wanted to share with you because I was thinking a lot about the 2 years that our team was just like growing like crazy. And I just felt on fire about life. Like I was a freight train that like could not be stopped no matter what happened and what came in my way. And I didn't care. And like, I just was so obsessed with everything about this business and everything we do. And like I said, I felt a little bit kind of out of alignment for a little while now. And I really kind of had to analyze why I was feeling that. But I think back to those spaces in time, and it was like I was super on point with a morning routine, with my workouts, with my nutrition, with pouring into my team the best way that I could, with pouring into my challengers the best way I could, with sharing with everybody and anybody about what we do as coaches, about how this journey can change your life, just full of passion and purpose. And just people are attracted to your energy, guys. Like, think about someone that you see on social media that like every time you see their post, you just stop the scroll because you're like, holy shit, this girl's on fire about life. Like they're excited, they're energetic, like they're positive, like there's always like good things going on. And you're just like, damn, it's like she lives on cloud nine, right? Like the energy that someone is pouring out is what makes you want to stop and think like, I don't know what the hell she's doing, but I want to join her. Cause like, I want to feel like that. Right. And that's, I think, what we need to remind ourselves of is staying in that space where you are just so high energy that people are like responsive because they're like, oh my God, I want to be a part of what she's doing. Like, that's freaking awesome. That's a big deal. That looks so cool. Like, that sounds so fun. Like, she sounds awesome. She sounds like she feels amazing. She looks amazing. Like, she's excited about what she's doing. Like, I want to be a part of that. Right. And so I was thinking back to kind of those spaces for me. And I also had a lot of strategic monthly benchmarks where, I've been realigning them for myself at this point in time, but setting them a little bigger because from learning from my past failures, I didn't get to where I wanted to go with the benchmarks I was hitting, right? So you never want to decrease your goals. So you need to increase the actions that you're taking to get there. And again, making sure that aligns with the 100% that you're willing to give at that point in time, because otherwise there's going to be a discrepancy of here's the actions I'm willing to take, but here's the outcome I'm wanting to have. And that doesn't really match, right? So you want to make sure that you're willing to take the action and bring the energy to get yourself to that outcome that you're desiring and aligning your goals with that. So, for example, those 2 years that we were on a massive growth scale, and not saying that we're not growing right now by any means, but it's just different, is that my non-negotiables were always bringing on 3 to 5 new active coaches that I could pour my time and energy into learning about their goals and how I could help them run in this business, hitting Success Club 10 and above, non-negotiable every single month, fully engaged and committed to just planning out my months with running trainings, running challenge groups, running sneak peeks, running all those basic things for not only to have as resources for myself, but also for our team to be using, right? Having some kind of accountability where you're sharing your goals every single week with a success partner and you're checking in, on what you're doing, what you're not doing, how things are panning out for you, so that in the event you are struggling and you're not matching up to what the actions, you're taking are for the outcome you say you want, that there is somebody else in your corner that believes in you, that wants to see you succeed, that is not afraid to give you some tough love and a gut check on the days that you need it. Because I can tell you that support of a success partner or an upline or somebody in your corner is insanely helpful. It's insanely helpful, especially to be able to talk about the struggles you have or the things you're learning or sharing things that are working for you. Yes, Whitney. And then just really being organized with the basics that you're doing, which that was my intention to kind of get to those tonight, but it is what it is. We're probably not going to get there because it's already almost 9:15. But this is something that I know when I live by the basics and I think about all, of the past 4 years where my business has gone on a growth scale of our team growing, of the successes of our team growing, of helping people every single month, of my income growing, and all of those things, that I can strategically think that it is a direct reflection of the amount of basics that I'm doing. And that is why I put the title of this call being "The Basics Are the Secret Sauce," guys, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's the basics. It is not some fancy schmancy game plan that someone has different than you, right? It's not who has the most eye-catching abs. Like, it's not a lot of the things that we tend to sell ourselves short on what we are and what we have the capability of doing, when realistically, and if you missed it, I want you to go look at it. But I posted the other day in the team page a graphic that says inviting, I think, written in gold letters. And I saw 2 posts in the roundtable, which is the 5-star and above page, where coaches were asking, who does private invites to their business, and how has that impacted their ability to consistently hit Success Club, and who does follow-ups and how influential that component is on them hitting their goals of helping people every single month. And literally, guys, it was every single person was saying, I invite daily to my business. I've been in Success Club for 4 years. I invite daily to my business. This is how long I've done it for. I do this amount of invites. This is the outcome that I've had. Literally every single person nailed in the fact that inviting and follow-ups were the core component to their business, and there is a reason why those are the vital behaviors. And I think that sometimes we, get in these phases where we're like, what do I need to do different? Like, I need to do what she's doing, or I need to do Instagram stories like she's doing. And not saying that those things aren't important, because developing new skills and being innovative and adapting to the way things are changing is important, but we can never forget the core of why we do what we do, and that we need to relentlessly pour from our purpose and our passion and our excitement of having people join us, right? And so it's literally, you need to figure out whatever it is that works for you. Bye, Melissa. Thanks for hopping on. Guys, I still function from notebooks. I don't know. It's just my jam. I've tried different online systems for organizing things. It doesn't really matter how you do it. And I actually found 2 videos that I'm going to share on the team page that were shared in the roundtable. One of how she tracks her business using Streak, and one how she tracks her business using like a Google Excel, and then another one of just how she tracks her business like using notebooks. So whatever your fancy is, figuring out a system for the basics that work for you, and tracking it every single day. And if you know that you're only going to be doing a power hour 3 or 4 days a week, or you're like me and your summer schedule is like friggin' insanity because you have kids home, making sure that you know when you're going to get that in, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon or on a break time or after the kids go to bed or whatever it is, but like making that a non-negotiable thing. Because I can look back and I can tell you that I literally slept and breathed the vital behaviors with a whiteboard for the first 3 years of my business until I transitioned to using papers and notebooks. But like, there is a very direct correlation of what's going to happen with the growth of your business and the goals that you're hitting, depending on the numbers that you're doing of the basics. And I think that we all need to be reminded of that sometimes, that it is not that you're not capable as somebody else, that it is not that you're unable to hit big goals like someone else, that it is not that someone else is more capable of growing a big team or a massive influence or a big income or whatever the hell it is that you want to do, that it's just that these people do the basics so consistently, right? And more importantly, give it time, like the escalator mindset, to see those things compound and come to fruition. I actually was talking to a new coach the other day, just about how, you have to stay the course in this business long term, because a lot of times you're going to talk to people for 2 months, for 3 months, for 4 months, for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, sometimes 3 years before people say yes to you, right? And if you don't stick around and you don't stay consistent showing up, you're not around when those people come around, right? You're not around for all of the new people that you're going to connect with, or for the new people that you're adding to social media that are going to want to join you. Like, that is why you have to have the long-term mindset and the bigger vision of purpose, that there are so many people out there waiting for you to show up, waiting for you to show up in their inbox and give them an opportunity to change their life. And I'm just going to kind of end it with this, but reminding yourself, because some of you have also shared with me that you feel annoying when you're doing invites or annoying when you're doing follow-ups. And I just feel like it's really important to acknowledge that guys like me alone, and I don't mean this in like a mine kind of a way, but like, if my coach had never invited me, this team wouldn't even exist, right? And the 6,000 plus people that we've helped in the past 2 years alone, who knows what their path would look like, right? Like there's a very specific reason that you were brought into this business and onto this team, because there is something here that you are being called to do. And it's important to stay aligned with the power that we have to ripple effect onto the lives that are around us, and not be sheepish about it, and not be shy, and not get so consumed by our own fears and personal struggles and self-doubts that we forget who we have the ability to influence. Because if you keep showing up and you keep going in this direction, think 2 years from now, 3 years from now, all the people that you could, the lives you could touch, or the team you could build, or the women that are going to be around you on your team that are thriving and pouring into helping other people just like you do, right? Successful businesses are not a straight shot. They're not one straight line. It is not, without failure. It is gonna be a rocky road with ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and a lot of personal growth and failures and obstacles and things that get thrown in your way and life that happens. And at the end of the day, what I just really have had on my heart to share is that it matters more, what do we do about it, and how do we continue to show up, and are you willing, when you're in those weird phases, to get reconnected and show up, and get realigned with why it is you're here, why you love what we do as coaches, and the work that you're willing to put in to serve other people, but also to change your own life. So I just want to say thanks to you guys for listening to all of my rants and reflections and things that I've needed to share. But I feel like it's been a really long time since I had the clarity kind of all of these things to come on here and share this with you. And I feel like it's really important for our team moving forward. And I'm just really excited about what's to come. I think that in terms of speaking of the actual basics, that we have a massive, massive opportunity here with To Be Mindset and with Lift 4. I think that both of these programs, for me personally, I'm more excited about these two programs than I probably ever have been about programs in the past, because I think that they're different. I think that they're what people need. I think that they're what the majority of people are looking for, but have never been able to find. I personally have gotten some of the most humbling messages from the women that are doing To Be Mindset right now, speaking to the way that it's transforming their health and transforming their mindset about their bodies and their scales and their insecurities and their food habits and just things that they have struggled with their entire lives. And what a gift that is to give, right? And not just that, but with Lift 4, being such a game changer for the sake of fitness, for people that have maybe never been fit in their life and didn't think they could be, or the people that have always said, I don't have time to do that. I'm a busy mom. I work a corporate job. There's no way I can work out for 6 days a week. Like, these two programs are such a gift for us to be able to give people that have thought that being healthy or finding a way to be healthy is not possible for them before, because something was too structured or too strict or too much from them before, right? So I think that it's important that we really understand the massive impact that these two programs can have on people's lives, whether it is your customers that have fallen off and that have gone inactive and need you to reach out to them and say, hey, I know that this didn't work out last time, but I want to invite you to come back and give it another try, right? Or whether it's customers you have right now that have been consistent with fitness, but they really struggle with nutrition, and maybe To Be Mindset is going to be the thing that changes the game for them. Or if you have people that just have, maybe they've started a fitness program and they've done well for a week or two, and then they fall off because 6 days a week is too hard for them to get in, and then they beat themselves up about it and they fall off, right? And they're on, off, on, off, on, off. Like, these programs are not only tools for us to help a ton of new people and a wide array of people that we've been kind of unable to reach to this point, but this is also two programs that I feel like have been kind of the missing links that we've needed to really pour into the people that we have already helped in a bigger way. So I hope that you see the opportunity that is there with these two programs, and I hope that you are excited about them. And I hope that you are committed to one or both of them. I think it's important for you to really be, as a coach, committed to and experiencing and engaging in those things so that you know the gift that you have to give and share, right? And not just that, but just to continue to be committed to yourself and your growth and your goals wherever it is that you may be on your journey, because mine's not been in the greatest place the past month, and it just is what it is. So, all I've been able to really do is nutrition and mindset here and there. But guys, that's been a blessing in itself too, because if this would have been me 5 years ago, getting injured from something or being in a shitty state of health, I didn't have any kind of tools to help myself through those periods of times, right? So it's also been a big reminder to me that we have things that no matter what people are going through in their life or what spaces they're working through in struggles, physical, mental, whatever, that we have something to offer them, and we have some type of hope to give them, and we have something that they can focus on until they're in a better place, maybe where they can go a little bit more all in, right? So it is 9:30 now, so we're not gonna do. Does anybody want to stay on and do inviting? Or are y'all like, my brain is fried and I'm sick of talking to you?
I won't be able to. I got to get my kids to bed, unfortunately.
Does anybody want to unmute and share? Was any of this helpful, or did it help you reflect, or do you think it's going to help you move forward? I'm always kind of curious. I like feedback. I don't like being the only one that's chatting, but you know me. If you give me the reins, I will.
I'm ready to kick butt.
I know you are.
But I also have that newbie status, so there's that.
That newbie fire.
This has been, I would say this has been really helpful. I mean, I myself, like, I go through the same, ups and downs. I have to say, like, since the middle of May, I basically stopped doing anything. And it's just a bad cycle that I get myself into. And like doing this and like listening into like Liz's like live last week and just kind of, lighting a fire. I mean, I know they've got Summit coming up, and I know it's going to like certainly get a lot of interest as far as like when we're sharing our posts and stuff. But you're right. The vitals are very important. That's like what it boils down to. If you're not inviting, you're not chatting with people, you're not having those relationships, you're not going to build this business, period.
Yep. And not for nothing, but I don't know. I talk to so many people on a daily basis. I have no idea who I was talking to this about, but thinking about this, guys, like if this were your corporate job, right? If Beachbody were your corporate job and you were doing what you're doing right now, would you have a job? Like sometimes I have to ask myself that. Like I am a CEO, I'm a business owner. Like if I'm not giving this 150%, and I mean, by no means like, do you ever go, want to admit that you've half-assed or that you've not given the full effort you could, but like sometimes it's important to be honest with yourself, and sometimes you have to forgive yourself or say like, I know I can be doing better. I know I can be doing more. I know that I need to do XYZ, and I'm going to own it. Like I'm going to own it, because that's what business owners do, right? And whether this is something that you want to be full-time, or it's something that, maybe sometimes the downfall is that you do have a plan B. Because I know for me that I've never had a plan B. I never gave myself a plan B. And even at this point in time, I have zero plan B. So I will always figure it out, and I will always show up and do the hard work and take the ownership. But whatever that is for you, you got to find that, you got to find what your plan A means for Beachbody, whether that's part-time or full-time or hobby coach or whatever the hell that is, but giving that plan A with this, your 100%, because that is different for everybody, right? But it does definitely influence how we show up for everything. So Whitney, you have anything to say? I know you've been stewing on this topic lately. I'm gonna call you out.
I've been chewing on this topic
I'm
for
gonna call you out too, Katie.
honestly, I feel like I've been thinking about this for a while because I feel like I keep going through these cycles, but it all has to do with my brain and how I just get stuck in the same cycle that when my journey isn't going where I want it to go, everything else goes out the window and I have no idea what I'm doing because I'm not where I need to be in my head and just physically. And since I broke my ankle, I feel like I've taken a nosedive, and that was in a month. That'll be a year ago. Like, that's insane. But I finally feel like I'm starting to understand that, like, kind of like you were saying before, and what I was talking to Annalisa about, and what I said in the live the other day, like, if I have 2 hours this week and 40 hours next week, it's that time that I need to give my 100%. I need to stay organized and like actually do what I'm saying that I'm going to do, because I'm one of those people that will write shit down, make a nice to-do list and not do anything, and then beat myself up about it for the next 2 weeks instead of actually doing it. So I think, I don't know, I'm going to get on a rant myself, but for me, it's just been
Getting the F out of your own way, basically.
yes.
Yep.
Getting my head out of my behind and just doing it.
Yeah, but I think that too is where the opportunity for giving ourselves grace and forgiveness comes in, because I think I talk to Taryn about this a lot, is that like I feel like when you are on a growth path and you've done so much personal development and like you know how to get out of a funk, like you know the action steps you need to take, like you know the vitals you need to do, or like you know the work that should be getting done, or you know whatever it is, but like you still are in a place of like beating yourself up for not being where you want to be, that you're like, and then you're like, I already know how to do this, but I'm still not doing it and I still can't get myself out of this shit. And then you get in a cycle of just like beat myself up, and it doesn't change until we get in that place where we're like, enough, like I'm sick of this and I'm gonna do something about it. Like I'm sick of waking up every day in this phase when I know that I have the power to control it. And it's different for everybody how you pull yourself out of it, but I think it's important to share that because it can help somebody else.
Amen.
Diana, what have you thought about this call? We haven't seen your face yet. Katie, do you have anything to add? It's okay if you don't.
No, I think Whitney said it perfectly, that it's all mindset. And for me, it has been the same too. And when I get out of the practice of doing those mindset things as far as personal development goes, like I stopped reading, I started saying, oh, I'm not motivated. I'm not not following a program 100%. I know the containers, I know what food feels good for me. And like, then I'm just like way out of control, that I'm not doing what I know made me felt amazing. And, we preach that we can do these things and life can come along and we can have babies and still follow a program, and you can do this and you can do that. And then we beat ourselves up when something comes around. And it's nice to hear that other people obviously are experiencing the same things. And then, we just have to be honest with ourselves and share with each other what we're doing to kind of get out of that, and share the books that we're reading, share the podcasts that we're listening to, and really kind of join more together as far as communicating with each other too, and showing up to the calls so that we can get this live energy and have the like one-on-one on 5 on 10 people communication that we're really craving.
Yeah.
And I think it just boosts the motivation from there each week. Cause I get off these calls and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to hit SC20. And then I go,
Yes.
and then I don't wake up in the morning to do my workout. Like, what was I thinking?
That's so true. But I mean, just in not just only with team call attendance, but I mean also with what you're sharing in the team page too, Katie, because like that is so true. Like when everybody's like sharing what they're doing and like sharing what's working, like sharing the scripts they're using, or the PD you're doing, or the podcast you listened to that was so good. Like it's just like the buzz of energy of everybody around you that is like in a forward moving motion and in a growth mode, and like it matters less like where people's outcomes are at because they're different from you, but like we all know that we're like moving in this buzz of a forward moving motion together. And I think that that's really important, because that, you know, is the connection you feel, and being a part of a team is what keeps a lot of us moving forward a lot of times when we're not strong enough to do it on our own, you know, or we struggle when we try to do it as an island. Not to forget the importance of team and sisterhood and support and community, and how much that really plays a role in our lives and our well-being. So I think that's important. Thanks for sharing.
And I also want to touch a little bit more on that too, because I know that I'm a very independent person and I like to do things on my own. And I, you know, as coaches, we're kind of taught that you should run challenge groups on your own, and you should kind of blossom and grow this team of your own, and do things that, you know, you're the leader. But there's a lot of power in doing things with the bigger group as well, because I know personally I've gone out on my own and done my own thing, and I know that a lot of my coaches have gone out and tried to do a lot of things on their own, and then they get that sense of feeling of aloneness.
Yep.
And trying to do it all on their own, and then it's like crickets all around, and then
Yep.
you end up at the end of the day like, why am I doing this? I feel like I'm so alone. I'm just messaging people in my room by myself and I don't have any friends.
Yeah.
So engaging and really, really, really building the relationships with people that you connect with in the group makes a huge difference. And even if it is just like reaching out to someone that you see in the challenge group and even asking for their cell phone to like text with them, I think will build relationships even deeper,
Yeah.
which is necessary for the very long haul. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we see it with the 15-star diamond coaches. I mean, their success partners are also 15-star diamond coaches, and I'm sure that they call each other and they're like best freaking friends and go to France together. So like, why aren't we doing that, you know?
Yes, it is. Well, I mean, I said that about for accountability as well. Like there is, I know personally when you're engaged with, it doesn't matter who it is. It matters less. It could be a coach from another team. It could be somebody from on this team. It could be your upline. It could be me. I don't care if you want to text me. Katie, you text me lately. Whitney, you text me sometimes. Like Ashley texts me all damn day long. But I think,
Thanks for calling me out. Thanks.
I think,
All right,
I
thanks.
really love you. I think that it is so important to have people to talk to about whatever it is you're going through in your journey, in your day, what you're doing in your business, what you're working on, what you're struggling with, what you're having success with, what you're excited about, like whatever, like just people that are in your corner. Like that is the point of having a tribe. And Katie, the book that you recommended to me came in the mail today, right after I did my live video. So how is that for a sign from the universe? Katie sent me a book that's about, it's about tribe. It's about like creating connections, and I forget what else the cover says, but it.
And I actually almost like read the entire thing on Saturday because I could not put it down. It basically, I don't know if you guys listen to Lori Harder's podcast.
Nope.
What is her podcast? Earn Your Happy. Well, if you're not listening to it, you should start listening to it. She does a lot of like quick podcasts that you can listen while you're driving, while you're getting ready in the morning, any of those things. So it's called Earn Your Happy with Lori Harder.
Okay.
And she wrote this book. She's a former fitness person, but she grew up, she has this crazy story and it tells it in the beginning of the book. But her book really is all about building your own tribe and whatever that means. So like she gives basic like scripts almost in some of the chapters of how to like reach out to people to like connect with them on a deeper level and how to build relationships, which is what this is like all about. Like if you're trying to build a team and you're trying to connect, and it's just like coming from that genuine place of really knowing who you are, so then you can connect with other people that are like you and
Yeah.
build your tribe.
I love that. I just downloaded it, the podcast. Katie, post it on the team page. The book and the podcast.
Yeah. It's all
I
up in
was
my
just about to
stories
say
like
that.
every day. And she responds to her Instagram when
Tag.
you tag her, she responds back.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love you guys. And I don't know about a team call next week. If somebody that's not going to Summit wants to step up and run one, I'll post something about it in the team page. But otherwise, definitely going to try and do some live streaming from Summit of different trainings and whatnot. But also the cool thing is that everything is recorded. So after the fact, all of the, speakers and stuff, you can watch them from home after the fact. So you don't have as much FOMO if you're not coming. So we'll see you tomorrow on the team page, I should say, rather than 2 weeks from now. Love you, ladies. Have a good night.